Hello everyone, welcome to the mentorship video on March 10th to 2024. It's been a while since I've done a video, right? It's been 2 weeks, and of course the reason why I had mentioned that specifically was because we were kind of like in the range of this pattern in which you could see it's basically accumulation, right? So these are weekly candles. So if we take this and go into a daily right now, well, you're going to see that the days are not very beautiful. So that's why all of this time I was taking it very easily. Um, but now, since let's come back again, bounced off the weekly inversion for value gap here from August 2022. Um, it seems like we're really gonna go into the desired target, which is the sell side liquidity, because as you can see, price is following the big phase in price in which it should be expanding. Now, retracement like this are normal, especially in our current economical condition. So it's very normal to see retracements like this, and this is what makes it kind of difficult to read because um, you would think if we were to start bouncing from the weekly inversion for value gap lower, well then why is it not respected this weekly for value gap, for example? That is a very good question, which can be explained simply by the fact that this is January 2024, and every new year they try to change the sentiment of what's really going on in the markets, and I'm calling they the market makers and all the ones in control of such currency or asset class, as you can say, as is the DXY. And that's why in all of this time, if you remember these weeks, I was in Peru. And so, since I couldn't trade, well, I took the time off, and I think I went to Peru. Yeah, it was 12. So I saw this weekly candle, and I said, "Well, this is not concluding of anything, right? It just went away, rejected from the order block, and then we went into like the doji speaks for itself. It's clearly gonna be manipulative as far as directional move intraday and within the weekly profile. So the weekly profiles are not respected on this case. As you can see, there, if we can look closer to it, Friday expansion, Monday expansion, Tuesday reversal, accumulation Wednesday. This is usually not the case. As you can see, Wednesday is usually the expansion profile. If you remember your weekly profiles, there's of course different profiles, as you know, but again, coming back to the idea that we were rejecting of the weekly inversion for value gap inside of the monthly, um, the fact that we didn't touch consequent encroachment of the monthly for value gap tells me we're probably gonna go melt and take 100.6. Just the fact that it shows weakness, it shows lack of strength, and to take more liquidity. So it seems like the liquidity that has the interest right now is definitely the sell side. And let's see what we had here. So let's come back to the weekly. So we had these highs around here of December 2023. We took the buy side liquidity, we then reversed within the weekly fair value gap. There was something very beautiful here that we saw on the wick on the weekly. There was a daily volume imbalance here on, as you can see, it was built from February 15 and 14. And so the next day, we had a manipulation that went into it and then rejected. And that's why it's extremely important to keep or to know your levels of imbalance, because they can definitely give a good understanding of price. And voids can act as as fair value. If you've studied what I teach you, you know what I mean. So they can act as fair value, and they can reprice at fair value. So if we get a little bit closer, again, the daily volume imbalance that we saw, just to don't forget here, December 13, 14, we go into the 4 hour, and the bodies are, pretty algorithmic here, so everything seems to be working fine. The 4 hour breakaway gap right now I said, and I'm doubting if we touch this again and then melt for the rest of the week. Um, it is possible we also spend the entire or like a couple days of the week trying to get above here. Uh, but the best scenario is I would see Monday night open and see how we just act in the void, and is the daily volume imbalance consequent encroachment is going to tell us more about the price. A good thing too is here you have two PD arrays, so you have the uh, zero point 0.5 level of the wick on the 1 hour chart, which is very close to the daily volume imbalance. You could also take one thing that is not on this chart, so you want to pay attention here, that you can look in your chart would be this section. Let me put it on for you. So there's a void here. It's a void on the hourly chart. And if we put it like this, well, you can see why we're chopping in this zone. There's a lot of inefficiencies the algorithm has to reprice, and that happens in consolidation profiles, which is what we were gonna get because of multiple things, because of the time that we're here, right? Time this started in lunch, and we are on the same accumulation macro since the lunch on the hourly chart, and we closed the week at that level. So I could see it going here. Let's see how we react to here. Again, on the 4 hour, this is not beautiful at all. So why would you be risking a lot if the 4 hour is not clean? I don't know. You tell me. Even the hourly, it's not super clean. So looking forward to trade more this week. If everything goes well this Friday, I should be requesting for a payout again. As I've mentioned you, or I'm not sure I did, the previous payout was denied from Apex Trader Funding because of the 30% profit in a day rule, which I had 35% on one day, and so it's pretty stupid. But they said just try it again, keep your rules, and I've kept roughly the same balance. Um, it did move a little, but nothing crazy. I have maybe 26.7 in all the accounts. So yeah, it seems to be not bad at all. We have the C discount week that I'm gonna mark here. This could be interesting. The dollar is different from the indexes. How it moves, it likes to get and play with inefficiencies. As you can see, we have a void here, and it's not something you get usually, as usually with indexes. So yeah, let's go. Let's just do a daily profile analysis, just so you understand how I do it more often. So we have the 830 move. 830 is usually the kill zone, which means there's a manipulation that happens because it is forecastable, for example, or like an instance, let's say it's forecastable. Um, it's not usually, but you can just do as if, and you'll see that it's gonna pan out more often than not. We had the melt. We had this big inefficiency. And there's something I noticed as far as the algorithm that ICT doesn't teach is that if the fair value gap is covered or is smaller than the order block next to it, it's gonna get failed. And so that's pretty much what happens here. So there's the 15 minutes order block. Um, Acting here, it acted like a rejection block more often than not. And yeah, as you can see, the bodies were pretty close to it. It did went a little bit here, but that could also be given to the discount wick consequent encroachment, touch after we never touched again. So yeah, again, not the best price action. I'll see how we act, and then I'll see how we move towards these inefficiencies. The macro is pretty much all bullish after the 830 manipulation. See this wick, touched it again, took sell side, and then we just went higher. So nothing crazy here, but if we look at this forex calendar, it'll give you more of a view in everything else. So we have the core CPI Tuesday, Wednesday. There's no news. There is also the daylight saving time shift. So if you're not living in North America or you're in another part of the states, well, you might want to look and trade New York time and on your own time. Remember, 10-year bond auction. It's probably gonna be a big element into this year. I'm not gonna cover bonds right now. Only if you're a private student, you will get access to the bond analysis. But I'm gonna cover the indexes, and you can definitely get the same trade ideas. The difference will be in precision and how much do you really want to know. So Monday, nothing. Could be accumulation, could be nothing, could also be a strong continuation of the trend that we had. I don't think so because of the structural fact that we are in all these PD arrays. We're stuck. So Tuesday, let's see how this impacts the market. If this is a manipulation, meaning if we go higher, I will look into either seeing where are we gonna go or what time it is when we're actually going and retracing higher, because it is possible, but I wouldn't think right now. I don't think we grabbed any large pool of liquidity. We just went into the void. We touched also this little daily volume imbalance that is here. You can put it as an objective, but if you want my guess, we are gonna continue a tiny bit lower and just see how we act. So there you go, the daily volume imbalance here. The next target would be 103.4, and after that we can go lower if we happen to go. So that's my analysis for the DXY, and the same would be said with MNQ. Just don't look at this. It's gonna confuse you more than anything. So I've posted this picture on the commentary chat, and I've put this picture. I've only put the daily for value gap, and I've said nothing more. I think this daily volume imbalance was also in the picture. So you can look at the annotations. Take this order block and extend it to your right. It might bounce price, and we had some nice action here. It closed here. It bounced off this. So yeah, the narrative is definitely a market maker buy model in this case, because we bounced from consequent encroachment here, consequent encroachment here, and the daily volume bounce right here. Another thing that we can look is, are we gonna come and test mid consolidation point? So that could be either some part of liquidity here or something here. I do believe that we are probably gonna gap up and fill again this gap on the 4-hour chart. But there is a very small possibility that we go onto daily fair value gap. Just because of the overall profile, it's not the cleanest, it's not the best. As you can see, if it was super clean, it would have done like kind of like a stare or something close to a stare, and now it's like manipulation, going higher, taking liquidity, melting, touching this, going higher, and then you're like, oh, I'm a good trader, and then it melts and you're like, well, what the fuck? And then if you keep your SL and your position alright, well, you're gonna see that order flow is on your side, and you could have had a buy limit here and just go long. I did not trade it on the Super ICT account. The account is still at 13k. The last trade I took was when was that? The 28 at 9:51. That's the macro. Just at the time, look at the time of my trades, and you'll see like why I'm entering. So those are all near macro times, and yeah, that's why I haven't been trading because of the whole profile of the XY and the yields, but also because the Nasdaq is also subject to some reduction or correction. Could be around 10%, 15%, 20%. I guess the time will tell us pretty soon, probably like around in the summer. In the meantime, I can only scalp high probability trades. So if we retest the midnight previous NWAG, it's gonna bounce, or if it melts a little bit more, it's gonna just continue. So um, let's keep an eye on this. Of course, there is no news tomorrow again, so should you play with your biggest risk management tomorrow? Absolutely not. Should you do that during a CPI? Absolutely not. ICT also mentioned that he doesn't trade CPI. And I understand sometimes you can get lucky by getting removed, but I would not recommend you play it. If you already have your bread and butter model, well, just play it, and then you'll be able to, have fun with your risk and your leverage when it's on the right conditions. You've seen me play the right conditions. It got me this beautiful play of 2.8k, and there's nothing that I can say other than manage your risk and be careful. And if price has to consolidate, let it consolidate. Do not rush an objective. Think like a professional. So this will be it for the video, and I'll see you guys the next week. Good luck, good trading.